Hey, and welcome to Board with Life News for February 19th. Today we're going to talk about the new Space Cadets game, Away Missions. We're going to talk about some upcoming games Gale Force 9 teased at the New York Toy Fair. And we're going to talk about the 10th anniversary of Ticket to Ride and the special edition game that's coming out with that. For Kickstarter, we're going to be looking at Oddball Era. Let's get right into it. Hey, what's up? I'm Chris, and this is Board with Life News. As I'm sure most of you know, we're currently running a Kickstarter campaign for funding Season 2 of programming for Board with Life, the series. And we reached our goal. We reached our goal in 5 days, which is absolutely awesome. But we still have a lot of stuff left to do. We've got push goals, awesome push goals, like music from Big Gigantic Circles. Rich Summer from Mad Men is going to be on the show if we can hit that push goal. Holiday special, all sorts of really cool stuff that we still got to unlock. So if you haven't given yet, now's a really good time to, because we're going to give early access to the micro game that the guys from Coinage and Easy Breezy Travel Agency designed for us. Now everyone will get a copy of that pledges $10 more at the end of the campaign, but as a thank you to our earliest backers, we're going to send out a copy to everyone who's already pledged $10 more. So if you've been on the fence, you might want to do that now, and you'll have the earliest access of anybody to that new game. The Board with Life cast was recently on the most recent Plaid Hat Games podcast, as well as the most recent Cardboard Jungle podcast. We've got a bunch more coming up, but if you're interested to hear us kind of talk about the process of the show, our favorite board games, that sort of stuff, you should definitely check those out. All right, let's hit the news. Up first is Space Cadets Away Missions Adventures in the Rocket Patrol. They're competing for the longest title. Also, it seems like they took the whole colon parentheses thing from Board with Life, the metagame, the micro game. So clearly, we're making big waves in the board game world. This is a standalone game in the Space Cadets world, so it's the third one. It's going to be a co-op game for 1 to 6 players. And basically you're playing through, there are 15 different scenarios that all link into a campaign. So you're all working as a team in kind of a, I think, Johnny Quest style space exploration, fighting off aliens and that sort of thing in a co-op game. We're big fans of Space Cadets Dice Duel, so hopefully this one is in the same vein and just as good. Last week at the New York Toy and Game Fair, or Game and Toy Fair, or whatever, the New York Toy Fair, Gale Force 9, the publisher Gale Force 9, had a banner that was teasing a couple of upcoming games. Those games include a game for Homeland, a game for Sons of Anarchy, and a game for Family Guy. Where whenever publishers license games, it's this slippery slope where actually Gale Force 9 has done a good job. They did a good job with Firefly, the board game, and Spartacus. They made actually good games for those properties. But at the same time, it can be like a cash grab just to get fans in, which is great if it can bring people to the hobby. For example, the Battlestar Galactica board game is a fantastic game, but also Battlestar Galactica. So maybe some Battlestar Galactica fans play it and realize that it's a lot of fun and that they should play other games. But if the game's bad, it can totally turn people off to the hobby. So it's yet to be seen whether those games are good or not, but I guess they're coming out. Now the big news of the week, Ticket to Ride just turned 10 years old this year. And to celebrate, Days of Wonder is going to be producing a special edition 10th anniversary game of Ticket to Ride. It's huge. The board is going to be 50% larger. It's got these awesome different sculpts, 5 different sculpts for each of the train cars that are super intricate. The circus one has a little giraffe head in it. The black one's like a little coal mining thing. They're really, really awesome. So that's super awesome. The game's also going to come with the Ticket to Ride USA 1910 expansion in it from the get-go. My only concern is that if the train cars are a tiny bit bigger, if they're too big, they won't be compatible with other boards that people already own. So then you'd have to still own a base copy of the game. I guess you could have Ticket to Ride Europe. But so hopefully they're not so much bigger that they won't work on the old Ticket to Ride boards. But I guess we'll find out about that. It's going to cost MSRP of $100. So that seems pretty cool for a really well-designed, really cool edition of that very, very, very popular game. Now let's look into Kickstarter news. This week's Kickstarter game is Oddball Era, Pirates versus the Pendragon. It's for 2 players. It takes 15 to 20 minutes. It's a pretty interesting card game where each player has a deck of 30 cards and you don't need any table or surface to play. You hold them in your hand and you can kind of look through your deck and see what's coming up. And you have the option of either playing, say, the top card that has a certain ability and a certain power, the top 2 cards that would give you more power, or the top 3 cards that give you even more. But after you play those cards, you turn them upside down on the bottom of your deck, and those are basically dead. They're your hit points, basically. And they're cards that allow you to turn others over and things like that. But it's this interesting quick playing, pretty simple but interesting card game. Each deck has 30 cards, but they're also including deck crafting cards, so you can do a little bit of deck designing and deck building to kind of customize yours the way you want it to be. It costs about $25 on Kickstarter right now. I say about because it's European, so I guess British, so it's in pounds, which then have to translate, or euros, or whatever. But it's about 25 bucks for the base game on Kickstarter. So if that sounds interesting to you, you should go check it out. Also, Rado Runs Through did a really good run-through video of it if you want to know more, so just search for that. All right, make sure you guys ask questions in this week's video, so I have questions to answer for every week and things like that. Make sure you check out our Kickstarter and all that good stuff. This week's question comes from Caleb154 via Reddit, because I did actually today, which is Tuesday, coming out the day before, I did an AMA on Reddit that you can go check out if you're into that kind of thing. I don't know. But he asked, do you find it more fun to do the main series episodes, or do you enjoy doing bits more? And that is kind of both in different ways. I like doing the bits more in terms of they're usually more fun to shoot, and we can be more creative and take more risks with them because they're not part of a larger thing. They can kind of be standalones, and they can really focus on the game, so we can get really stylistic or goofy, like Mr. Jack or Noir or any of those where we kind of like get a little weird with it. Bananagrams. But the show, the series, is more rewarding to create. It's more of, I guess, what I'm interested in terms of like narrative content and telling stories and things like that. So while the show is much more difficult, I think it's more rewarding overall to create. So I like them both in a lot of ways, and they're both a lot of fun to do. So I guess that's an answer to that question. But anyways, make sure, again, to submit your questions via YouTube, via Twitter, via Facebook, all that stuff. Follow us on all our social media. We also have social media push goals on the Kickstarter, so if we get a certain amount of Facebook followers and Twitter followers, or Facebook likes and Twitter followers, we'll actually be producing more exclusive bits for our backers. So yeah, thanks so much for your support, and I will see you next week.